very old public service announcement about Spot, the DARPA / Boston Dynamics robot. Care and safety in handling your personal robot, or if you find one that's on a task and has gotten lost. While it's in motion and has its legs deployed instead of folded up, you can't really touch it or manipulate it. It's designed to deal with almost any kind of intrusion or being bumped by getting up. However, if it's doing things that make it appear to be off on a tangent you don't want it to be on, here are some tips. The pinch points are near the shoulder, hip, knee, and elbow joints, for lack of a better word, and don't get your fingers near them. Next, there are handles attached to the hip and shoulder joints, and the proper way to do this is only when they're folded up, grabbing them, represented by the blue handles here. This is where they are here in the picture if you're looking close. And pull up on them and make a fist. Don't just put your hand in there, however. That's not going to do any good, and you'll probably end up getting injured. Amputation or broken fingers can occur otherwise. That's for even if it's not doing something bad. And again, all of these pinch points are dangerous and represent a safety hazard for anybody coming near them, no matter how safe it looks. See also that we're depicting this here as the front on the left side, and on the back is on the right side in all these pictures here. And yeah, it can be hard to tell which way they are. You end up looking which way the legs are pointing, and that's the front, depending on how you interpret it. Now let's go talk about something completely different. Motor lockout button. Mechanically, physically disconnects the motor power. Can only be activated by manually pressing the lockout button. Software cannot turn on the motors while the lockout is engaged. This essentially disables it unless somebody removes this button. That's a very important thing. To handle Spot safely, the robot must be placed in lockout mode. To enable lockout, you turn motor power off with the controller. Push the lockout button. Confirm the red light is off. Red light means it's active. Here's the power button and then the lockout button. Power button over here. On the left side, we see buttons and ports back view. It's on the back of the monster. The helpful robot. Literally right on its butt. There's a port cap covering a bunch of data ports. Here's another one, another port cabling cover that's attached with a cable. The motor lockout button is right here. It's right in the middle. You press it until it shuts off. That means while it's moving forward, which is its primary behavior because most of its sensors are on the front, you push that button and it should physically unplug the power going to the motors. This will either cause it to fold up on its, because it's lost power, or it'll just stop moving. The power button is as we say in the computer industry, a suggestion. Computer power buttons do the same way, where they don't really do what you tell them. You're just asking the computer nicely to shut off. This motor lockout is no, I didn't ask, I wasn't stuttering. And anyway, that's depicting the back. Again, the toes are pointed forward, so that's the head over here on our right of its depiction. On the back we have this, and this is a little panel in the back. That's if it's still included. Now, as a geek who does repair work and tear parts and tear downs on equipment, let's say this rather bluntly. If someone was to decide that there should not be a lockout button for public safety for some reason, that does in fact mean that connector set is behind there at that exact point. So basically, you aim not for the tail, not for the, we'll call it the sphincter, you aim for the sack. If you're using, let's say, a Nerf gun to motor lock it out, because that should still damage whatever is behind there. Even if they remove the button or cover it with some sort of plate, you should be able to physically make sure that thing shuts off. Now, the other thing is, if the red light's on for any reason, it's not disconnected the power. Never handle Spot unless the motor lockout's engaged. Do not attempt to lift or move Spot while it's standing. Only move joints with motors in lockout mode, since you can then manipulate them and manually fold it back up. Be careful and avoid pinch points even when it's shut off. And again, unless somebody removes the safety lockout, you should be able to do this quite easily. Even a momentary push should do it. Next, pulling its power out. If for any reason you run across one that someone has unsafely modified, here again is the head on our right and the back on our left. Now in the lower picture here, we see a picture spot on our left, and it looks like BOA, but it's 80A, or 80A. And to the right, we see the head position the same way, but it's flipped on its back. We're going to give it a tummy rub. This is where you reach approximately where the robot would have a sternum if it was a living thing. Look for a handle and rip the battery out to make it to where it shuts off. Again, I wasn't stuttering. I wasn't asking, shut off. This is the thing. Any piece of machinery you cannot immediately turn off, like a split second, just immediately. Even though that may be the worst thing in the world, you should have the right to shut off a robot, a computer, your cell phone. It shouldn't have a wave goodbye or a may I or maybe I won't kind of behavior. It should have, literally, off is a do it now button. Okay? Samuel L. Jackson cussing mode needs to be instigated. AKA, pull its plug, rip its battery out, that sort of thing. And yes, if you get one in your hands to where you can actually interact with it, you can physically do this by coming up to the side or behind it, grab the battery pack, pull it out, and then leave the area with the battery if you don't want anybody to plug the damn thing back in for any particular reason. So anyway, this has been your PSA about Spot, the robot dog that may or may not be in use by people in your area and may or may not have these basic safety features that every robot is supposed to have and may or may not behave itself. And again, watch out for pinch points. The active motors themselves can do something to you to hurt you. The carry handles are only useful if it's already folded up. And again, if you really want to fold it up, rip the battery out and then manually fold it up after you've waited 30 seconds for everything to finish powering down. Or you can hit the button on the back. And remember, don't aim for the tail or the sphincter, aim for the sack. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. You will need it.